blue, dilly dilly, lavender green. If I were king, dilly dilly, I'd need a queen.
Hi everyone, it's Dill, she's off, and myself again. I've been asked a few questions to do with common issues that or little problems people are having with their dogs. So I thought we could cover them in just one little session. So, this isn't an active session. This is just one where I'll talk and you'll be distracted by the dog playing. I've been asked what's the best way to have a bedtime routine. Now, I don't know, it's a question of personal taste about crates, but I've always used crates for my dogs, and I'll tell you the reason for that. When you have a puppy, actually it's usual, for dogs that have started to run feral, that when they have their puppies, they put them in a nice, safe place that's covered up, sort of under sheds and things like that. So I've always found a crate is something that you can make very comfortable, and if you cover it with a blanket, it can become like a little cave for the dog to go in. And I found that dogs actually like that safety and security they get from a crate. It also stops them from getting into trouble. If you've got a dog that's active, like this one, and curious, like this one, left to her own devices, especially when younger, she can create an awful lot of chaos. Wait, thank you. Can create an awful lot of chaos. So I've always found that I will use a crate. It's also handy if the dog ever has to go to the vets, because if the dog's got to stay in a vet's overnight, they will be put in a crate. If they're used to crates, it's not going to cause them any extra anxiety, because they're just going to settle down quite quickly. If you've got a blanket, when you first get one, if you've got a blanket from the dog's litter mates and mother, that will help enormously. Put that in there. I've even got the little, you can get those little cat igloo type beds. I've popped that at the back of a crate, and then it's that somewhere that's dark and comfortable, and then the puppy will often go in there and cuddle up and go to sleep. So what you want to do is create a quiet atmosphere and a warm and safe atmosphere. So something from the puppy's siblings, or even if, once the dog's got used to you, something of yours, just something that you don't mind them sucking on, and put that in a bed for them. Be careful about what you put in there, obviously. Make sure that they've had chance to relieve themselves before they go to bed, so they're not whining because they need to go to the loo. Make sure, if possible, that they're tired. Puppies sleep for an enormous amount of time each day, so it should be easy just to find a time when your puppy's tired, just pop it in the crate and then give it a nice little treat in there, or a toy, nice blanket, and you'll find they settle down really quickly. I've never had any trouble with puppies crying at night, and it's not that I'm deaf. It's just literally that I take a lot of attention to settling them down and getting them used to things. Dill, come here. Come here, please. Now sit down. Thank you. I've also been asked about separation anxiety. Now, it's a problem that a lot of people seem to have. Actually, different breeds of dogs have different needs to be with you. So some dogs are far more independent than others, and so part of it does depend on the breed that you pick. Poodles are notorious for being for suffering from separation anxiety. But like everything else, what you have to do is train them to get used to being separated. After all, if you think about it, why wouldn't a puppy want to be with you? Such an amazing personality as far as the dog's concerned. The rest of the world might not agree, but your dog thinks you're great. So what you need to do is actually think in terms of the dog. It's really tempting when you've got a young puppy to spend every waking moment with it and to take it round with you everywhere. It's lovely, it's cuddly, it's wonderful. But comes the time when you want to be, you need to go out or you want to do something, it is likely, if the dog's used to spending every waking moment with you, that your dog is going to get anxious and upset. So you need to, like everything else, to train the dog that it's okay to be separate, and in fact it's part of life. So what you do is make sure that the dog's, had a playtime, it's a bit tired, it's comfortable, give it something to distract it, a chewy or something, and then just go out the room. You only need to go into another room for a while, and the dog might notice you've gone and start whimpering a little bit. Don't go back when it cries. Don't do that. It's tempting, but don't. Wait until it's quiet and then go back into the room and tell it how clever it is, give it a treat, and then just gradually build up the amount of time you're going to leave that dog alone. And that's the way you do it. It's quite simple, really. There's no rocket science. It's just a case of, just be kind and just think of how you are going to, what the issue is and how you're going to deal with it. All dog things are the same as people things. You just have to work out why the dog's doing it and how you can make that dog's life a little bit better. And the way to do it is to make your life a bit better as well. Get it used to being alone. Please do. Otherwise, if you live in a terraced or a semi-detached house and you've got a dog that howls and whines every time you're out, you are going to become anxious and your dog's going to become more anxious and it's going to become a big issue. Treat it right from the beginning. Get your dog just used to being by itself. Not for hours and hours and hours on end, but just for a little while. And if you work all day, please don't get a dog. Get a cat. They don't care where you are. Okay? So let's have a look and think about the next question. So we've done bedtime routine and we've done separation anxiety. Other people have asked about the watch me command. What's the purpose of it? Well, you can't train a dog to do anything unless it's paying attention to you. And the way to make sure it's paying attention to you is to get it to look at your face. And the way to get it to look at your face is to teach it the watch me command. Once you've got that watch me command, you can actually then, if the dog's looking at you, it's paying attention and you can tell it what you want it to do. All the time that it's got its back to you and it's wandering off into the distance, you may just as well be reading a book because you're not going to get through to that dog. So that's the purpose of Watch Me. It comes in handy in all sorts of circumstances. If there's a bicycle coming and your dog chases bikes, then you sort of watch me, the dog will watch you. And then the distraction is there. The bicycle goes past. Oh, well done, little dog. That was so very clever of you. And yes, well done. And give it a treat. Life's just so simple if you just think about it. Okay? What other questions? Oh, somebody asked about the ringing a bell. I taught the dog to ring a bell. The bell I used was just one of those ones on the counter. I haven't got it at the moment because unfortunately we broke it. We did it too often. And I'm not buying another one just to teach a dog a trick. You can use bells for, the dog to say that it needs to go to the loo. You can use a bell for the dog to tell you all sorts of things. But in all honesty, I was just using it as something else to teach her. The reason for my teaching her tricks, other trick type things, is really just to keep her brain active. If the weather's really foul outside, brain exercise is almost as tiring for your dog as physical exercise. In fact, probably more tiring, depending on the type of breed you've got. So I do a lot of that. I take the dog for walks, a minimum of an hour. But I also spend a little bit of time each day just thinking about, right, what can we do next? What can be interesting for her to keep her mind busy? Also to keep my mind busy. She keeps me on my toes and I keep her on hers. That's about it, really. It's just about having fun. And it's also about keeping her mind active. And if I keep her mind active, I'm going to keep her out of trouble, aren't I? And that's what it's all about. Okay? I think that's answered the questions that we've been asked recently. But if you've got any other questions, just send them in and we'll have another session like this. All right? Nice to speak to you again. Bye.
Then I'll be king, dilly dilly, and you'll be my queen.